Let's talk about scams. So right now, I want to talk about scams, how we can avoid them, what we can do to spot them, and how we can help each other. So we're going to take a look back at 2025, some of the most common scams. I get emails that are scams and text messages pretty much every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. It is just nonstop with these spam, scam type setups, and they're just trying to get personal information. They're really just phishing. So as long as I don't give them anything, or if you don't give them anything, we're not going to get scammed. So if you've heard of any scams, drop them in the chat here. If we can share that information with each other, we're going to just be smarter and better off. If we know about the scams, they can't scam us, right? If we know what they're trying to do, it makes it really hard for them to scam us. So again, yeah, we're going to talk about how some of these scams work. I'm going to talk about some scams that I've been a part of and what happened with those. And then we're going to talk about how we can avoid them. Now let's take a look here at some just kind of quick rules of thumb when it comes to scams, basically. There's kind of two pieces to them. It's going to be urgency and a link. It's something's happening right now. If you don't do this right now, really bad things are going to happen. So they try to get you with some type of urgency, and then there's always a link. So you always have to assume that everything's a scam. Everybody's trying to scam you at all times, right? Never pay with gift cards, crypto, or wire money to fix a problem. I have been presented with this scam many times. Text scams. Hey, there's an issue right here. All we need is some gift cards to fix this problem. And sometimes it's not that obvious that that's what they're asking. So never share your one-time codes with anybody. So if you get an email or a text for your two-factor authentication, do not share that with anybody. So that is yours and it's meant for you only. Do not ever give that to anybody. And then stop. Take a second and then verify the number or the site that you're on. Where is this information coming from? Did they call you? Typically, when it comes to scams, they're always going to be reaching out to you. Companies, for the most part, probably won't be reaching out to you if they're legitimate. So you can always pretty much assume it's a scam, especially if it's your bank and your bank's like, hey, we're trying to contact you, but we can't get a hold of you. We need, something's wrong with your account. If there is ever anything like that, just go ahead and, drive to the bank, right? So, or call them with the information that you personally have. What's up? Welcome. So if you've heard of any scams, drop those in the chat. I'd love to talk to you about some of the scams that I've seen, some of the scams that you've seen. If we can share them with each other, then it just makes it harder for the scammers to take advantage of us, and they are just getting more and more aggressive with these scams. And honestly, I think they're going to get better and better because as AI keeps advancing and stuff like that, I think, it's just going to get worse and worse because they're going to be able to clone voices and things like that. So it's going to get really challenging with all these scams. So first is impersonation scams. This is kind of one of the most common back in last year, 2025, and it will continue to be one of the top scams. So they're pretending to be your bank. I get these all the time from Apple, Amazon, the Postal Service, things like that. Thanks for the comment. You've seen a lot of scamming. Are there any ones that have you had this impersonation scam? This one I'm talking about right now. It's one of the most common that I get almost at least like once a week, once a month, fairly frequently. I'll get the text message that says, hey, your package, we're trying to deliver your package, but we don't have enough postage. There's an issue with that. Please give us a call at this number. And then they're going to ask you to send them money for postage. And that's never the case, right? If somebody sent you something, they paid for postage and it's going to get to you. So it was already paid for on the sender's end. So if somebody's texting you or calling you and saying, hey, we don't have enough money for postage, it's just a lie, because at the point of service, when they scheduled that delivery, they would have had to pay for your postage already. So what's the goal with these? They're always trying to get you to log in, to get some money from you, or to get a code that you just got sent for your two-factor authentication. So common lines, you're going to see account locked, suspicious charge, refund, and warrant. Do is just hang up. If somebody calls you, just hang up. Typically, they kind of do these call farms where I think they have these systems that will call 10 people at a time, and whoever answers first is the one that they get. So a lot of times you'll get this call, you'll answer, and there's not an immediate hello. that's usually a sign right there that it's either a telemarketer or a scam. And you can also just start asking questions. The more questions that you ask, the harder it is for the scammers because they really don't have a lot of follow-up for questions. So impersonation scams are a big one. And again, I get those all the time. So let's go back to that because I did want to talk about that a little bit. So the impersonation scam that I have been getting the most is from Apple. So my iCloud. So they're saying, oh, you're out of memory or storage. So you don't have enough storage. You're out of storage. Click this link to update your storage. And then if I did click the link, it would probably take me to a site to put in my credit card information to buy more storage for my photos. So I get that one almost daily, and that usually comes in an email. Account locked. I do get that one a lot, especially for like PayPal and things like that. They're always like, hey, your PayPal account's locked. Click this link to get it unlocked. Suspicious charges, things like that. And if you want your refund, click here. Let's take a look at comments for a second here. So first of all, thank you for the comment. I'm glad to see that we got a little bit of engagement here. So let's see what scam you've been seeing here. So they were like talking, then a scammer joined. He walked to a rich guy and said, I will give you a strawberry elephant. And the other guy said, I have a meow, but okay. So I watched. So the scammer stole. Well, I'm not exactly following that, but was that in real life or was that like a show or something? So let's move on here. Let's go on to the kind of next scam, and that's investment scams. So they're trying to allure you with the thought of getting rich. It's too enticing to pass up. It's too good to be true. So they're going to start with, and these are kind of longer scams here. So typically you're targeted for some reason. They think you have a lot of money or something. Maybe you have some social presence and you look like you have a lot of money. Then they will target you to try to get some information from you to get your accounts. And this is more social engineering, right? They are playing a long game here. But these ones, they kind of suck you in and then they keep bringing you back for more, promising a payout. It's almost like a Ponzi scheme. Just give us a little bit more. Just give us a little bit more, and I promise you're going to get rich. It's going to be worth it. So they'll start with friendly contact, social media, text messaging, dating apps, things like that. And then they'll move you to a fake investment platform, crypto, things like that. Then they're going to show profit, but they're going to block the withdrawals. Unless you pay more, they keep getting you sucked in, right? And they're faking all of these. Now, another thing with crypto is a lot of pump and dump kind of things. These have happened with celebrities. There was a really popular celebrity not too long ago that they come out with a crypto coin, and then all of a sudden it skyrockets just at launch, but then it crashes immediately. Everybody who had the coin before the date that it was launched basically pockets all of that money, and then you never hear from them again. So crypto's a big one because at the time that people set those up, they can basically allocate a bunch of coins to some people specifically during the initial startup phase. And then when everybody else buys in, the insiders know that, hey, we're just going to sell this and then run off with everybody's money. Another thing with crypto is a lot of scams ask you to pay with crypto. It's harder to trace and keep track of. And then the second payment is always going to be, or not always, but a lot of times going to be gift cards. So crypto and gift cards are almost impossible to trace. As soon as you pass them or give them over to the scammer, it's gone. Now with credit cards and checks and things like that, it's easier to trace, so it's easier to catch. So follow-up comment here. Oh, it was in a game. That makes sense. So you can even get scammed in games. So here we have smishing texts and toll packages. And I get this one a lot actually as well. So I'll get a text message saying, hey, we've noticed that you have not paid your tolls. You have to pay now or there's going to be a penalty. Again, urgency. They're trying to hit you with some fear, making you think that if you don't do this right now, you're going to be in trouble. And penalties, sometimes they quote a statute or something like that and says, yeah, there could be potential jail time or other fines. So pay this unpaid parking ticket. And that was actually a big one across a lot of different states. And a lot of states actually had to address it publicly and say, hey, we are not sending out these text messages. If you have an unpaid toll, you will get an email or a letter to directly to your house. So unpaid tolls, package delivery issues, which I kind of touched on before. There was an issue getting your package to you. It was undeliverable. Contact us so we can get this taken care of for you. Then they'll usually just lead you down a rabbit hole and say, hey, there's unpaid postage. You need to pay this to get your package. And you don't know what the package is. Maybe it's something really good, right? And then linking to look-alike sites. So you do need to be careful clicking on links and things like that. What I always do is look at the URL. Now, with a lot of these websites, that can be challenging as well, but usually looking at the URL will steer me in the right direction and tell me right there, you're not on the website that you thought you were on anymore. So the fix for this is basically don't be clicking on a lot of stuff. Go to the official websites manually, so type it into the search bar. A lot of times they can even come up on search or get paid placement for advertising. A lot of times I will Google something and the first search that pops up won't be really related to what I wanted. It'll be similar, but it won't be exactly the same, and it's an advertisement. So just be careful, watch what you're doing, pay a lot of attention. Now, let's go ahead and check in on the comments here. Time I was at my uncle's house. I'm going to the guest room, and he called my uncle, and I said, then, hey, give me your money. Your bank could tell you to give me your money. So all right, so let's move on here to the next. We've got, fake job postings. So this is a big one as well. Also fake rentals. So fake job or remote job scams. Easy online work. They're promising that you're going to be able to work from home. It's going to be the easiest work that you've ever done, and you're just going to make a bunch of money working from home, doing a really simple job. But you either have to pay to sign up or maybe you have to buy some training program or something like that. And then if something happens to your payout, you have to pay to get a withdrawal. Sometimes it involves crypto, a lot of crypto, right? So if there's some Bitcoin or crypto involved, be really suspicious about that. So, and then real jobs won't make you pay to get the money that you're owed, right? A real job will just pay you. And you can always look that up. If you see a company that has a job posting online, you can actually look up the company and make sure it is a legit job. But the sites that I typically use are pretty good about removing those listings, but they get so many that some do get through. So this is the one that I think is going to get big here in 2026, and it's going to be AI-assisted scams. I think we're going to see some voicing and deepfakes. I've seen certain content creators be basically cloned, and then I know that they do make secondary. So what they do now is they'll make secondary accounts for a really famous content creator. Then they'll start getting in the comments and chatting with subscribers and viewers directly, pretending to be the channel that they know and love because they've copied all their information, and then they start scamming people that way, asking them to sign up for a program or send them money and things like that. I got this scam a lot when I worked in the mortgage industry. I got text messages from people pretending to be my boss, asking me to get gift cards for the entire office for presents around the holidays. And they just needed to keep it a secret, and don't tell anybody, keep it a secret, get some gift cards, send them to me, and we're going to surprise a lot of people in the office with these gift cards. And they had the names of people as well, because when you work in a lot of these industries, all of that information is kind of online on a website. So these were really targeted scams where they specifically chose me because working in the mortgage industry, all of my information was there online along with the group of people that I worked with at the branch. And so they had all of our information and they could see, oh, here's the branch manager, here's everybody else. Let's target everybody else. And they had everybody's name. So it got me for a second that I believed it was my manager texting me, but then I realized, oh, this is a scam. So usually your boss isn't going to reach out to you and ask you to buy stuff. And if they do, verify it with them in person. So I think this is going to be a big one. I think it's just going to get worse and worse with the AI assisting on how to get these scams better. So some things that you might see, the boss is either texting you or sending you a voice memo or an email saying, hey, we need gift cards, you need to do a wire transfer, family emergency using a cloned voice. We'll see how this one goes, but yeah, if they could clone a voice of somebody, maybe they could try to trick you with a cloned voice, fake video or audio calls. And then you always just want to verify. And then this one suggests coming up with a family safe word. So if you ever are in that situation, you can have a specific word or phrase that you guys know as a family to always bring up in a conversation. So that way, you know it is truly your loved one. So recovery scams. So this is a big one here. You got scammed, but then somebody offers to recover your money. So it's like a double whammy from the scammer. So first they'll scam you, and then they'll pretend to be somebody helping you to recover what you lost from the scammer. And then it's just insult to injury. So they'll ask for fees, sensitive information, remote access, or more payments. They often pretend to be law enforcement or a legitimate company. So no one can guarantee recovery. Report through official channels. I was actually targeted by a scammer a couple years ago, and it was really believable. I could see how people would fall for it. I was called by somebody stating that they were a detective with the local police department. They said that they had a warrant out for my arrest because I missed a jury duty summons. It really got me for a second. So I sat there talking to this person for 5 to 10 minutes, and then I realized as I'm having this conversation that I think that's public record. So if you get summoned to jury duty, I think that is public record. Also, I think it's linked to car registrations in some states. So these scammers were really smart, and they were able to collect these public information records and able to call people and say, hey, you missed a jury duty summons. And if you legitimately missed one, or if you didn't get one, you would think, oh, I did miss a jury duty summons. And then he stated, I have a warrant for your arrest. You can either pay the penalty with me on the phone, or you'll have to turn yourself in, or if you ever get pulled over for anything, that warrant's going to be attached to you and you will be arrested and taken into custody at that point. So that is the fear and the urgency. So fear of arrest and getting in trouble with law enforcement, and urgency, you need to pay this now, otherwise there's going to be consequences. Now, I wish I would have thought about this before, but if you are ever issued a warrant, there's going to be a judge that signs that warrant. So you could start asking questions. And if I'm waiting for this call again, and I'm going to say, well, what's the warrant number so I can look it up? And then who was the judge that signed it? At that point, the scammer will probably hang up because you've asked too many good questions. They're not prepared for that, and they'll hang up. If they're good, they'll still stick around. But then even with that scam, I mean, if it is legitimate, I missed jury duty, so I still have to make that right. So best case, or the most appropriate thing to do in that situation would be good to go to the local police department and ask around and see if that is indeed factually correct. So just question everything is really what it kind of comes down to. So red flags, again, these are always things that you want to be thinking about. Urgent, threatening, or limited time, right? It's got to happen right now. They want to get you while they got you, before you can really process things, think about things, talk to other people. They want to get you immediately. A lot of times they'll say, hey, don't talk to anybody else. Just keep this between us. Let's handle this ourselves. Requesting gift cards, crypto, wire transfer, Zelle, all of those things are shady ways to transfer money. Maybe not Zelle so much. Also, you're told to keep this a secret. Don't tell anybody about this. And then they want remote access to your device. It's rare. It's never really, remote access is never the answer for anything. Unless you're working with IT from your company who you know personally, that's really the only time you're ever going to give remote access to a device, in my opinion. I don't ever offer remote access. And then if there is ever an issue, sometimes I just decline to take care of the problem at that point and say, hey, I'll take care of this later. And then they ask for the code. So always keep those things kind of at the top of your mind, and you almost kind of have to be thinking about this often. So if you clicked or paid, you want to do this. So stop talking to the scammer immediately. Call your bank or card company and dispute or freeze as needed. So if you gave your credit card information or anything like that to anybody, you can call your bank. And a lot of times they can stop transactions. Even now, in some of my apps for banking, I have the option to basically turn my credit card on or off, which is really cool because you can actually just kind of stop transactions from happening immediately. Change passwords. So you always want to be kind of changing your passwords. Make sure your passwords are really hard, challenging. Make sure they're not super easy. Make sure that your password isn't the same for all of your different logins. And then on every platform, you want to turn in that two-factor authentication. It does get kind of annoying. Right now, I think I'm getting a spam call. So they're trying to get me. They see me online and they're trying to call me to sell me an extended warranty or something. So two-factor authentication is really helpful. I actually got an alert from one of my logins that there was some activity, and it was a two-factor authentication sent to my phone. So I was able to go to the website and change my password and make sure everything was okay there. So I think two-factor authentication actually saved me from a spam and a scam attack. So you want to run malware scan and remove unknown apps and extensions. So you can do this on your computer. Windows Defender has a free one that you can run, and then of course you can pay for different spyware and malware software. And then where you can, you want to report these things. So there's ways to report. And if you can, go ahead and report. Sorry, I don't have any information about how to report right now. So again, scams work by creating emotions. They are trying to scare you, usually with fear or joy, right? You're excited. You're about to win something. You're about to get something, right? You just won the lottery. Or romance, right? So a lot of scams happen on dating sites and things like that. Just keep sending me money. I promise I'm going to come to your country soon. I'm going to be there soon. I just need a little bit more money for this, or there's a family emergency or something. And that is a big one that we really didn't even get to. But dating apps have a lot of scams in there. So of course, really what you need to be doing here is pause and think about it and then verify. So what I always do is I always look up the number and then I make initial contact. So when people are reaching out to me, I'm always very suspicious, and I always like to say, or I have said in times, I'm like, hey, I'm going to call you right back. I will contact you. So stay up to date with everything. Hopefully that was helpful. Thanks everybody for the comments and engaging today. Hopefully you stay safe and don't get scammed. There's lots of ways to prevent it, but they're everywhere. I get multiple scams a day, it seems like, and they just are nonstop. They're relentless. So hopefully we can keep ourselves safe, and hope you are having a good year so far. Again, my name is Drew. This is Totally Tutorials. See you in the next one.